So I'm here in the heart of the Matrix, Central Park, New York City. Today I want to talk a little bit about one of the biggest hoaxes that reinforces the control of the Matrix. And it's this hoax of the idea that people, human beings, can actually own things. The reality is that a person is different from a human being. A person is a corporation. Corporations can own things. Human beings cannot own things. And throughout the Matrix, we see this mentality from everyone who wants to be successful that we should always strive to earn more money and become a millionaire or even a billionaire, because, these titles give us some kind of status that show that, okay, we've worked hard and we've done certain actions, and so it's achieved this result in terms of money. And to an extent, I kind of understand that. It proves certain things about your actions and what you've done. But that title, of holding all this wealth, the Bible very clearly says, it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter heaven. And why is that? It's because possessions weigh us down. They get us away from God. And so part of the idea and part of the trick of this reality is learning to see through that, okay, we need resources to survive. We need resources to contribute to our purpose and to serve humanity. And so we all have to do business. That's the reality. But we don't have to aspire to just accumulate these material possessions meaninglessly. I mean, it's just such a distraction from our true purpose of service. And the real way to do it is to control wealth with trust. That way we don't have to own anything and we don't have to touch it with our hands, but we still have the power to use it for the benefit of God. And it's something where, I've seen this idea of ownership break apart so many relationships, so many families, so many businesses. Even looking into my past, my own past, my business partner who died several years ago, we were running a company together in Houston, Texas. And things were going extremely well at one point, extremely well. And then, a series of events, one thing leads to another. You start making small compromises, and we were all of a sudden in a very compromising position. And one thing I realized was money at the time was one of the biggest things we fought about towards the end. Even the last conversation I ever had with him, it was like a bad movie. It was a very spiteful conversation, very, very hateful words were exchanged between each other. And then I got a call a few days later, and he's in the hospital on life support after being hit in the head by a car. So life, really can do these crazy things, and money is such a divisive point throughout humanity. I mean, it's just crazy how much wreckage and how much carnage it causes, and yet it is a big focus for everyone because we need it to survive. Human beings are one of the few species where, especially in this city I'm in right now, just to live, just to breathe costs money. I mean, to go anywhere costs money. It's just, wow. I went to a little deli on the Upper East Side here, and I saw this little tiny sandwich, $29 for a little tiny, it was like maybe this big, this big. Like a little bite-sized ham and cheese sandwich, $29, and I guess what they're calling it, maybe it's some artisanal, vegan, sandwich, whatever bullshit names they're kind of trying to plaster on this. But, again, it's just a classic example. Everywhere around the country, obviously prices are going up. They're saying inflation, okay. But it's obviously been inflation for the last 100 years, since the Federal Reserve was started in 1913. Inflation is just another word for legalized robbery as they keep, destroying our currency. So at the end of the day, now is the time to hunker down. It's the time to really be focused. The world's going to get crazier. Okay, all these people who think it's going to get better, the math does not support that. These people are liars. They all have agendas to push. Just look at a variety of different data points across a variety of different industries, financially speaking, and you can see that things are not looking good. This government, is just so full of lies. It's I don't even know where to begin. And if you haven't realized that by now, I really pray that you open your eyes, check out some of the resources in this group, because maybe it'll start to kind of make you aware that now is the time to really see through the bullshit and start to, cut to the chase. What is really going on here? And more importantly, what can we do about it? Because I hear all these people out there talking about the matrix and talking about, all these fundamental problems, it's all going to collapse. Okay, great. But what do we do about it? There is an answer. There is a right answer to this. There's a reason why we're all here. We're having this shared experience together, and there's a reason for that. And so, part of that reason, in my opinion, is, getting closer to God. And when we can shed, as many of these desires and as many of these meaningless things of this fake reality, that's going to move us one step closer to the truth. And so, how I started this video off, right here, we're surrounded by literally $100 million townhouses and apartments, just extremely lavish, so much money just to even stand here, even just to get here right now, cost a lot of money, let alone, find a place to live and eat and do all the other things. And so, in a place so obsessed, and controlled by money, how can we start to see past that? And part of the way we do that is through trust, because that's how God trusts you to handle money. It's the difference between being an owner and a trustee. That's a big difference. And that education, that fundamental understanding brings you closer to God. And it's crazy how when you look throughout the matrix, everyone's telling you, open up your LLC, open up your S Corp, all these bullshit entities that all own things. When the reality is we want to control them. And out of all the trusts that I've seen, believe me, I've used many. I paid $20,000 for a trust before. So when it comes to all these different types of trusts, it's funny how it took me so long, but the Occam's razor, the simplest way to get to the solution that we all want, which is freedom, is through God. And that's what the Bulletproof Trust does. And so I encourage all of you to, again, time is of the essence. People, you think that it's going to be just good as it is now forever, and it's hard to describe how short our time here is. I've seen young friends of mine die out of the blue, supposedly. It's always some coincidence. And even in my own life, I've been very close at points to death. And it makes you reconsider the nature of your own existence and the nature of this reality that we live in and we share. And so I'd encourage you all to really start taking this seriously, because the sooner you do, it's not the easiest road, I will admit. There is a certain exquisite sadness that comes with the greatest truths in life, but it's well worth it, because what else are we here for? But to learn and then to influence and serve those around us. So, thank you all for being here in this group, and there's going to be a lot, many more updates like this from me regularly, and we're going to be talking about a variety of different topics. I get a lot of questions behind the scenes because trusts are a private topic generally. People are very, obviously when they're dealing with family affairs, not everyone wants to share that with the world, and rightfully so. That's why, especially these trusts, these are private. You see all these people virtue signaling about privacy. This is the way to actually be private. But all these questions I'm getting behind the scenes, I know it's going to be helpful to many of you who are watching this and have gotten to this point. And so I want to shed light on the darkness and these corners here. And hopefully it can make your experience on this earth a little better, like it already has for me and my family and many of my friends. So I look forward to the next one, and talk to you guys soon.